Are you ready to walk and talk again? Here we go. Today we're talking about consistency, and I'm at the Vancouver Waterfront Park because I really want to show you what it looks like down here. Consistency. Why do I think that this is truly the magical thing for the coming year? It's because even though it's not glamorous, it is the thing that actually creates magic. So for all of my woo folks who are also sensible and woo, I really want to point out how much when you are building in time and space to be consistent, you actually create more of that magnetic magic that we talk about so much in these manifestation communities. And honestly, I find quite a lot of those types of programs and products to be just another form of bypassing. I find a lot of business programs to be a lot of forms of bypassing as well. And what I really want for people who are in my list and in my audience to understand is just how much you cannot bypass the need for the boring parts. And consistency doesn't always sound like the most thrilling thing that you might want to work on. But I have to tell you, it is the only thing to work on, truly. The only thing that really needs to be on the to-do list every day is, have I been consistent? Have I done what needs to be done today? And you always know what that thing is, but we end up trying to make these fancy lists, overplan our years, when the thing that just needs to happen is you have to show up. Here, we're gonna do that walking on this gorgeous day at the Vancouver Waterfront. I cannot believe it is actually sunny right now. I've got some of my Costco couture on. I'm getting over my fear of vlogging in public. There are a lot of people here, but that's part of what consistency is. You know, when you work on looking at that fear right in its face, and you're like, you know what? I can totally do that. But when you can do that, you've conquered the one thing that is required to show up in your business, produce the materials. You know, I always say with systems, you are your first system. And that came from working with clients who had seen that in themselves, that without themselves being online fully, without themselves showing up and being fully present, there was nothing. The one thing that I know after being a very metaphysical person for so many years is that it's the most boring times and the most boring things and the most boring of activities that produces the greatest magical return. And I see the same thing happen in our businesses too. In our businesses, we have a lot of mundane tasks to do. And honestly, creating these videos, there's a lot of really mundane things with this too. There's the bigger, creative, scarier parts, like walking down this waterfront right now and hitting record where there are people around and testing out all my equipment and dealing with equipment failures, which almost happened earlier today. And at the end of everything, it's the matter of, no, I committed to walking out the door at that time. I checked the weather report. I made sure that the weather is fine enough. I picked the spot. We're gonna go. Whether the video turns out perfect or not is not the point. Every week I send a newsletter. Whether that newsletter is, in quotes, perfect or not is not the point. The point is that I have not let down those few hundreds of people who are on my list, whether they open the mail or not. They know that I will show up for them. They know that I will not let them down by not hitting publish. So what I recommend is really working on finding a way to hit publish every single week this year. Pick something. I would recommend email if you have not actually sent consistent emails before. If you want to play with video, add it in too. But one bite at a time. And when it comes to the magic of manifestation, it also comes down to consistency. There is one system in that world that I particularly enjoy. I have found that, again, the thing that makes their system work so well is when you employ the magic of consistency. I honestly don't know any other way to produce magic than just simply showing up and doing the work every single week, day after day, time after time. There is this novel that I love called Circe. It's amazing. You should totally read it. But there's this one part in the story where Circe, the goddess, is coming into her witchcraft, and it's mundane and boring, and she's growing her herbs and she's remixing them, and she's doing it again and again and again. Our natural seasons are slow. Our natural pacing is not as fast as our world of technology is. And I think sometimes we forget that in our business worlds. I think sometimes we forget just how much we actually need to simply give you a view of the famous I-5 bridge here. But I think sometimes we forget how much the only thing that the magical entity of our business is asking from us is simply to show up, to execute something consistently, some small action. And by consistently, I mean it could be for you simply just managing your calendar in the first quarter, not letting it be a mess. Every single day, you know what you're supposed to show up for, and it is set up correctly. And that small action kicks off this chain reaction of things that is just honestly really quite incredible. Most people end up thinking about consistency in terms of their marketing efforts, and I think that's pretty accurate too. But as a systems coach, I will tell you how much that's just a very small part of what it is you're actually working on every day and building. I know of quite a few amazing entrepreneurs that I'm coaching right now who honestly don't need a lot of marketing materials. They are full up with clients. They honestly can't take any more business than they've got right now. And for them, the consistency is in improving their delivery systems or in creating more spaciousness during every day and week so that they're not overly loaded with too many tasks and figuring out how to delegate those things off their plate consistently. However that's showing up for you in this season, it's time. If you came across this video, I always say the universe is pretty magical, especially with technology. And it always puts suggestions in front of us when we need to hear them the most. And this is one of those things. I feel like my own business growth and the ability to pivot real hard the way I did this year in 2023 is all due to the magic of consistency. I have been so consistent in showing up for my audience no matter what, even when I feel like I'm a hot mess, even when I feel like I'm not sure where this program is going, I'm not sure if I'm going to retire the incubator, I'm not sure if I'm going to launch the podcast. It's been a big year of flux, and I've seen so many other people going through flux. It is a collective energy that we have all been experiencing. And I actually think it's kind of magical that we've all been going through that kind of at the same time. So one of the best things we can do for each other is show up for each other. So now that I've talked about showing up for your audience, there's always a flip side to the coin. And it applies to you as well. It applies to your audience, and it also applies to you. And that is the consistency in consumption. As entrepreneurs, I find through my systems coaching over the years that one of the things people get the most overwhelmed with so quickly is around consuming content consistently that genuinely helps them, that they truly enjoy. And that's probably something we need to cover in another video. But for now, I think that focusing on what you're putting out rather than what you're consuming is probably going to be more advantageous to think about first, because once you get those wheels turning and you understand what goes into the creation of your consistently produced content, that is when you start to appreciate what other people are putting out, and you can recognize good quality content from the stuff that's just sort of been generated either with AI and it's not really fully themselves, or they farmed it out as a done-for-you service, and you realize you're not really getting to know the person or the brand. I think that that is a genuine skill that has to be developed. And I feel like that's where my background as a librarian really comes into this whole experience of coaching other business owners, because for some reason I know how to consume content and I really love it, and I love teaching other people how to enjoy it too. There are so many cool things in this world, and I see people doing really innovative things right now, and I don't see enough of our entrepreneurs talking about it. I see our entrepreneurs talking about the same creators, the same brands, the same messaging, and frankly, it's boring. It's why I created the tagline for the School of Moxie podcast, why it says, "Don't be boring, do business better," because so much of this is so boring, and I'm really over it. As somebody who thinks about what to put out every week and really listens to the collective energy and the patterns that I'm recognizing every week, when I see it in other people who create content, even if they're vastly different from me, I have so much appreciation for them. It's really, really amazing to see that happening. So what I'm hoping in the coming year is that I can lead you down this content creation journey. I'm going to be supporting that a lot more inside of my own business. And I really want to highlight people who are doing interesting things so that you can see it as well. We're going to go on more walks. And now I'm going to finish this out. I'm going to take you on this super cool bridge here in Vancouver, Washington. Oh, and there's a boat coming too. Technically, that's a ship. That's too big to be a boat. I'm super excited just to show you what the city looks like. I really love living here. I feel like these walks and being out in nature, even if it's more of a cityscape like today, is incredibly healing. I hope that you find your version of consistency for the new year too. And I will see you next week.